Hello, everybody, and welcome to the King Leo Show. I'm your host, King Leo. How's everyone doing tonight? Let's see here. Friday night. It's Friday. You can really feel the pull of the weekend, huh? How's everyone doing? Shout out to Lindy, man. Everybody. Audio's perfect. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the King Leo Show. I'm your host, King Leo. Tonight, it was a slower day, but still kind of eventful. We have some to get through. I think that it's interesting to see the way that this WWE season is developing. This thing with Fuentes is really heating up. It's not as you'd expect. So, because of that, we have a couple clips to show there. I couldn't put it in the title because I think it's a little controversial. I think that Tucker Carlson may be participating in, I don't know if it's on purpose or by accident. My producer felt it was pertinent to bring it up and give you a more informed take on it. I think that Tucker Carlson may be actually making people gay. I think that, I don't know if that's his goal, but it seems like something that he is doing. It's interesting to watch. While we wait for everyone here, 1 second, just connecting my phone, everybody. All right, let's get started with the show. Let's start with our plugs as usual before we get into it. Here we go. All right, perfect. So we're going to have to do a little history tonight. We're going to have to do a history lesson. And it's kind of important in order to understand my theory about what Tucker Carlson is doing. A little Florida history, but it's important nationally. And thankfully, we can do that. So let's go. This is our plug section. Welcome. How are you doing, Audio Vibes? Welcome. Here is our Patreon where you can contribute $5 or $20 a month. I see we have 3 memberships that are free, which is fine by me. I'm finally going to start adding stuff probably after this weekend. I have to get a haircut tomorrow. My hair is unmanageable right now, dude. I need to get a haircut. So it's going to be, I hate this. I hate dealing with the hair. But all right. Here's our Patreon. After I get my haircut, I will actually be able to start posting on the Patreon. We're going to start doing the movie reviews because I think that that's at least something that has that has a lot of value in terms of analysis to understand the world as it is and how it's going to be. Let me get this open here so I can see our chats as they come in. We also have to show our What Would Appears More Gonna Do bracelet, which I'm wearing right now, which is available here. The link is in the description for $10. All right. We don't really have any Peers Watch today. After an eventful week. And we also have our free Discord where we have Aria and Audio Vibes. And our history lesson is coming later in this same tab. So welcome, everybody. We're going to have a great time tonight. No Bill Maher tonight. He's off till next year, unfortunately. I like to torture myself. That's part of my Friday ritual. The day that man retires, I am screwed. All right. Let's get to Schizo Watch to start. And we have to see how the government has continued its crusade against Sabrina Carpenter. I'm very, very amazed with this, man. IP law is out the window. So let's play us in here with our Schizo Watch intro. So this country's going nuts, man. Let's see what the White House felt they could post today. Once again, guys, I don't care how we feel about the immigration issue. I'm more interested in the IP factor. And before I show it, I have to say once again, guys, the editing is tight. As an editor, I can't judge the politics of it, but the product is really something. And this, obviously, it's costing us almost $1 billion to Kristi Noem's company. So pretty cool to see how our tax dollars go to work.
I think I might need to arrest someone for being too illegal.
Oh, well, I turned myself in.
You're under arrest.
You get the bag and fumble it, I get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Straight off the lot, put on the cash, and the car came with a blood in it. Lil' mama of that.
They are just taunting artists now. I know this may not seem like such a big deal after they did that Sabrina Carpenter, I watched earlier this week, music ICE arrest compilation. But now they're actually taunting her. They're going, she's asked, do not associate me with your deportation program. And here they are associating her directly, like Face now. And this is really something, man. I wonder where IP law is going to end up. I'm very, very curious about it because this is very unusual. I've never seen the government take on someone this hard just because they won't let them use their music. They haven't done this with any other artist. I don't know if it's because Serena Carpenter, maybe she has a little less clout. She can't sue as well as a Taylor Swift might. But let's see again, man. The government is really something here. I guess the sovereign is the sovereign. I guess that's the only conclusion.
I think I might need to arrest someone for being too illegal.
Oh, well, I turned myself in.
You're under arrest.
You get the bag and fumble it, I get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Straight off the lot, 300 cash, and the car came with a blood in it. Lil' mama of that.
So yeah, I guess we're taunting artists now. I guess this is the point of the White House, is to taunt artists. Kind of cool. I hope they actually expand who they're doing this to. It would be cool if they started doing this to Disney, who is one of the worst offenders when it comes to IP law. If you're not aware, there's a whole curve called the Mickey Mouse curve to show how IP law has been abused. I just hope this trickles down to a regular person so Jubilee can't shut down my stream like last time. Let's continue with Schizo. Watch what else we got. We got more. It seems like English boomers or right-wing English people are the next target. But what I don't understand is it seems like this AI slop that's being made to radicalize English men and women is the English men and the English fellas and the English ladies is very American. And this is what's confusing me about it, where they keep showing English soldiers angry at Bobbies. This is the whole approach they're doing. English soldiers angry at English police for not enforcing the law. And they keep making the English soldiers sound very American. They're saying, I signed up to defend our country and you're here to tear it down. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because how can this be? I assume the average soldier is 22, maybe 24. If even in America, there's no major wars that our soldiers have been in, but at least they deploy, right, to Korea and stuff. Where are these English soldiers? How does this fantasy even exist for AI to make it? All right. See, we have a chat here. Joe M. Powell says, being complicit in genocide is pure. All right. I can't say that word on YouTube, sir, but all right. I respect your opinion.
I sacrificed my life to secure this country's freedom and its freedom of speech. And now you arrest people for words while turning a blind eye to crimes committed by invaders. You are a disgrace to your uniform and you are an insult to mine.
So it's obviously AI, right? But what I don't understand is the UK hasn't fought anyone. They haven't fought. Who are they supposed to be standing up for? And freedom of speech is not an English value. So I don't know if these are American bot farms making this for English boomers, because you can see the text. If you agree, please share. Or just like English trigonometry fans. I assume that's who would find this really, really cool. But this is bad marketing. I don't know if you could blame, it's sloppy enough to be Russian. But I don't know if the Internet Research Agency is still really doing this kind of stuff. So I thought that was interesting to point out. I think we're going to see a lot more of these. Let's move on. We have two of these, man. Updates from Venezuela, which is an issue we've been covering a lot. How is President Maduro, the president of Venezuela or dictator, take your pick, up to you, not my problem, how you feel about it, okay? How is he dealing with this issue of America potentially invading? It's unusual because I was told last week, I know that Americans may not follow this as closely. You know, I am a Venezuelan extraction, so I follow it a little closer. And I have the Venezuelan sources and news, which is a lot of BS. But there is some truth to it. And they were saying that he was going to escape to Doha. And then I saw this video come out today of what he's actually doing. Let's see what the president of Venezuela is up to while he's being threatened with being removed from power.
¿Cómo se dice en inglés? Please, please, please. Yes, please. Listen to me. Yes, please. Peace forever. Peace forever. Peace forever. Esto Se llama lenguaje tarzaneado. Tipo Tarzán sería sí paz por siempre. Paz, 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 sí paz, 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 sí paz, 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 sí paz, paz, paz. Not war, just peace. The people.
So James O'Keefe wants to make America rave again, but the president of Venezuela is actually raving. He has the country raving right now. This is a remix of one of his speeches that we watched where he was speaking in English. After that speech, he was singing John Lennon's Imagine, and now he's remixing his own bad English speech, which was memed. And dude, I gotta say, my producer pointed this out, that Saddam Hussein, if he had taken this kind of Baudrillardian approach, because this is the most postmodern approach I've seen a world leader take to take on American imperialism, if you want to call it that, or American liberation, if you want to call it that. And I think it's endearing, at least. I don't know if it'll work, but it's more interesting than whatever Saddam was doing. If you're trying to beat the Americans at their own Baudrillardian game, we'll see how that ends up. We have another one of these leaders. We have Benjamin Netanyahu. How you doing, Robert? Robert says he's high on fat. We're going to get into that, Robert, because they've expanded this war that they're doing with these drones striking drug boats to the Pacific. The fentanyl is Eurasia in 1984. We have always been at war with fentanyl. We're fighting fentanyl every day. We must kill the fentanyl in our minds, because it seems like we're at war with fentanyl all over the world now. Fentanyl, it has me wondering if fentanyl even ever existed, really, or if it was just something else. But before we get to that, we have some more Maduro clips. I wanted to show one of the great heels of the world. For those unfamiliar, we on this channel, we talk about the issues in the Middle East in a very light way, because it's not really my bag. I don't really have a strong opinion on it. What we like to watch is the Baudrillardian dog and pony, bread and circus show around it. And the greatest wrestling heel meaning the villain, someone who is portrayed as the villain, someone who loves the hate, is Benjamin Netanyahu. He loves the hate. We've analyzed him before. And let's see what video he released today. Remember, yesterday he was attacking Winston Churchill, which it was like, what are we doing here? This guy just wants everyone to hate him. Left wing, right wing, normie, conservative. And he just posted this today. It says, I want to share something with you. And it's just as ridiculous as you would imagine.
I want to share something with you. Yesterday, I do a broadcast. The interviewer says to me, Prime Minister, could you tell us what your trial is about?
First, I would point out that he is so comfortable that he has started to speak in a comedic voice. We've been wondering on this channel, where are the funny people in the Middle East? And it seems like the big boss, as we call him on this channel, has now adopted the mannerisms, tone, voice of like Lenny Bruce or something. This is Jackie Gleason here. I mean, look at his approach. It's very stand-up comedy. I don't understand how he has the fortitude to just enjoy all the hate he's gonna get from this. Let's watch.
I want to share something with you. Yesterday, I do a broadcast. The interviewer says to me, Prime Minister, could you tell us what your trial is about? So I did. And I was flooded with a deluge of responses of people who said, wow, we didn't know. So I thought I'd let you know too. I'm accused of receiving favorable press coverage from a second-rate internet site. In the 250 years of liberal democracy, no one has been accused of receiving favorable press coverage as a crime. That's the so-called bribe. Except when the trial progresses, as it did, it turns out that I didn't get favorable press coverage. I got unfavorable press coverage. I mean, the most hateful, antagonistic, negative press coverage you can imagine in Israel. And that's not an easy thing to achieve. So 2 years ago, the judges call the prosecution in and they say, drop the bribery charge. It doesn't hold. Just let's end this.
I mean, there should be a laugh track, and badumts, you know, he really is delivering this with the cadence of a comedian, like a 70s nightclub comedian. He's literally becoming the Joker in the Joaquin Phoenix movie. It's very odd to see that cadence. A lot of people say Trump is funny, and Trump is a funny guy. I've never seen Trump do stand up like this in terms of the way he's posed, the way he's resting his weight, his gait. It's very unusual to see. I'm not familiar with the case against him in his country, but I'm sure this is very funny to the people who are familiar with it.
Prosecution refused. Yeah, it's a political trial, and they're not interested in justice. They're interested in getting me out of office. So what's left? Well, they said this when they cross-examined me.
Is this Carrot Top? He has props?
They said, Prime Minister, 29 years ago, your son received a Bugs Bunny doll. So help me God, that's what they asked. You received a Bugs Bunny doll. From now on, this trial will be known as the Bugs Bunny trial. And you also received cigars from a friend. That's what I'm being charged with. Now, this is absurd. And of course, this trial is just going on and on and on. 6 years of bogus investigations on these idiotic charges. And the trial now has been going on for 4 years. And it's expected to go on for another 2 to 3 years. I have to go into trial. I got to sit down when I tell you this, okay?
I gotta sit down. Dude, can he be any more of a stand-up comedian? What is he do? And this has to come from him. There's no way his advisors are saying this. This is so confident. So well done. Robert says, doesn't the World Court want to arrest him? Yeah, the ICC wants him, but I think he's referring to his domestic trial. And I think that he's feeling good about it because his lawyer, any lawyer would advise you not to do this. This is probably not good to do. But if he's this relaxed, he's telling his lawyer, hey, slow down. The big boss has got it. I got it in my hands. Don't worry. And to do it with this cadence is really something.
I have to go 3 times a week, 8 hours per day to discuss this nonsense. Now, it's funny. It's comedic. I was a champion debater in my high school, so it's a farce.
A master debater?
But this farce is causing the country a lot. There are big things to do. There are peace treaties to get. There's AI and other technologies that are amazing that could change Israel, could change the Middle East, could change the world. That's what we do best in Israel. I can't deal with that. So they asked for a pardon. I asked for a pardon, okay? And we'll see if it comes out. But you wanted to know what this trial is about? This is what this trial is about. Bugs Bunny and cigars. Ridiculous.
This is the most unusual defense I've ever heard from any politician. Not really in terms of the content, but tone. He's asking for a pardon as a part of a David Cross bit. As he's doing a bit. I've never seen Fujimori didn't do a bit. I need a pardon. You know, the jokes write themselves. I guess the comedic talent in that country is all in the hands of this one guy. I wish I was more familiar so I could find it, you know, get the jokes, but that's really something. This is a Baudrillardian here too, man. Maduro and this guy, they are, and Trump, there's some Baudrillardians. Clearwater says, hey, how you doing, Clearwaters? Let's continue. What else we got? We've got, look, this was an interesting saga to watch, and this is to show you how much of a genius Patrick Bet-David is, who we're a big fan of on this channel. We're going to watch him later. This is one of the great wizards of our time, one of the great wizards. He has an app called Minect where you can contact him as well as other celebrities for a period of time. And here you see him. This is someone who's a hater of PBD, saying, seriously, who is paying for this? Because if you're not aware, PBD charges $48,000 for 30 minutes of his time. And this is a phone call. And this circulated on Twitter throughout the week. It was posted 2 days ago, reaching 21,000 likes. It's huge, right? But PBD, as the grand master wizard that he is, he does not let himself get affected by the haters. He simply quote tweeted it and said, "Thank you for promoting the @Minect app. I've gotten multiple calls due to your marketing efforts. You're the best." And his brain is not made for us, folks. His brain is not made for us. How many people, honestly, man, this is one of these things where you take out the biggest credit card you can get and book 20 of these calls and then declare bankruptcy because you're going to be rich the day after, because no one else can teach you this level of grift. What a genius. I am in awe. Let's continue. We have here more AI slop. This deals with the Middle East. And I have to say, I didn't expect this. It seems like I'm really wondering, because at this point, we have to wonder who is behind the AI slop. The AI slop, it's going everywhere, and it reminds me a lot of the accusations towards Cambridge Analytica in 2016 and Russia in 2016 of these coordinated media campaigns designed to drive everyone nuts. Because even the people who are pro, let's call them the underdog in the Middle East right now, are getting psyoped. And I don't know if this is from a Trump liking account or something. Because if we read the text, let's read the text here. Even though it didn't seem to me that he was with the orange genocidal Trump, this gesture is appreciated on his part from that country over there. Free that country. And here we have Cristiano Ronaldo, who recently met up with President Trump, who is not well liked by the people who do not support that country in the Middle East. Let's see what they posted.
Hold that flag high. Tonight, from this stage, I want to say it clear to the whole world. Palestine is free. I will support Palestine everywhere, always. Yes. Thank you.
This is obviously AI slop, but what I'm really wondering, and it's appropriate for Schizo Watch, is who's making this stuff? Who's trying to spread this stuff to drive people nuts? Because you have the community note, right? But if people don't see this, I'm sure people fall for this. Are they trying to, it has to be that they're just trying to drive people nuts. What's the other explanation? It has to be that. There's no way. Speaking of people being driven nuts, let's see how Tim Walz is dealing with President Trump's Thanksgiving address, which we read earlier this week or last week, where he called him retarded. Sorry.
Oh, I get it. You're retarded.
He called him retarded. And it seems that this has inspired people in real life. Audio Vibe says, Ronaldo's such an interesting guy. I'm a big fan of Ronaldo. I like Ronaldo a lot. Messi fans in shambles. Ronaldo's the best. Let's see how Tim Walz is coping with President Trump's tweet. And let's see how President Trump's Thanksgiving address is manifesting into real life.
True. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So deeply concerned. True. This
is Tim Walz right? Do these taunts, these people driving by his house calling him retarded, do they translate into violence? I don't know. I don't think America has the energy for that. I don't wish any harm on Tim Walz. He's a great representative of the fancy boy, Nancy boy community. What is this, man? Like, President Trump has a lot of power. He has a lot of power. APK says Peterson went belly up. Well, that's what we're going to explore tonight, APK, because I want to know what happened to him. We're going to get to that after we're done with Schizo Watch, though. Tim Walz, I don't know. I don't know, APK. And I'm here to crowdsource info. I'd like to know because I'm very confused about the fate of Jordan Peterson. A very tragic figure in modern times. I don't think this is going to turn to violence. Hopefully not for Tim Walz. But why is he... How are people drive? I didn't even know you could drive by his house. and yelling the word retard at him. That's really something. President Trump knows how to make the digital real. Hey, Baudrillardian master, let's continue. I wanted to play this here because, as I've said, it's very strange the people who are sounding more reasonable these days. And as I made the joke before, maybe getting hit by Antifa on the side of his head is the moment that Richard Spencer really started to think. Because Richard Spencer, dude, it's either he's watching my show or he really is like changing his mind in a way that aligns with me. And here he's saying that debate is stupid. And I was so happy to see this that I had to show it to you, fellas. It just bothers me that people, how is it it's me? Who else is anti-debate? Me, the Baudrillardians, and Richard Spencer. We are the only anti-debate people in this debate country. In this country where everything is a debate and everything must be bet on. I don't agree with everything he says here. However, in essence, I agree. And I'm glad to see, I hope that there's more of an anti-debate movement. I do agree to an extent, because I've said before in the past, we need to bring back duels, man. Because duels will end debate. If people are forced to actually enter into a duel when they disagree, people might actually start to calm down instead of fighting with people all the time. Because we saw Myron Gaines this week debating someone in Brickell. I don't want to live with that.
History is about decision. Debate might be a preamble to that, but history is about decision. You don't just debate endlessly. And sometimes when someone's in opposition to you, you have to kill them. You have to make the most powerful decision. And just this liberal, gooey notion of endlessly talking about these things. No one wins the debates, really. There are hegemonic times when, say, heliocentrism gets throned and basically everyone more or less agrees with that, and it's hard to disagree with it.
Hallelujah, man. Hallelujah. I'm glad to see. I'm sure Richard Spencer may not like me, as a Hispanic guy. Maybe he still has some of that racial stuff. However, I'm glad to see someone say debate is a waste of time. It's stupid. And it just causes discord. It just hurts people's brains. Not worth doing. It should be banned, or you should be forced to duel. Have it out. Choose your weapon. But what is the point of just fighting endlessly with people on the streets of Brickell while I'm trying to get a delicious treat on my lunch break? How you doing, Paul? I see you there. He says he's a cornered rat. Do you mean Tim Walz? Let's move on here to the Somalis. The Somalis, I'm starting to be a great admirer of the Somalians, who are becoming the most postmodern, Baudrillardian, amazing people. These fellas are not engaging with the immigration debate in a debate. They are simply becoming the new Mormons. They are just preaching a vision that is a meme that Minnesota was promised to them in the Bible. Is this true? Well, does it even matter in our postmodern world? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So it's very funny to see. I did not think it would be Somalis, of all people, to embrace postmodernism this hard. Let's see how they're doing these days.
White land of the north, snow everywhere. But look, brothers, behold it. The white land of the north, snow everywhere. But look, the skyline, just like on the old drawings. 3 centuries our elders taught.
Behold, this is Somalia. 3 centuries past, it was promised to us. On these horses through the snow, we have found our land at last. It belongs to us now.
Brothers.
So they're dressing up as explorers. I guess this is a conquistador, or maybe one of these guys that tried to find the Northwest Passage. I forget their names. And this is really something. I mean, it's AI and everything, but it's so funny. And you never know how far these memes go in our world. you might have people who start a Black Hebrew Israelite type movement around Somalis in Minnesota. Let's continue. Let's see with the Somalian issue. Here we see what the White House is spending its time with. Rapid Response 47, which is the official White House Rapid Response account. It is registered with the White House on Twitter. They posted this: Meet Abdul Qadir Sharif Abdi, a criminal illegal from Somalia. He's a Vice Lords member / former Gangsters Disciples member and has a long list of criminal convictions. Thankfully, ICE got his ass off the streets of Minneapolis during Operation Metro Surge this week. We already see a little bit of profanity, okay? And this goes on, dude. They did this for like every person of Somali origin they've arrested. And they quote tweeted it and said this here: Little Mayor Jacob Frey in dashes, total cuck on the illegal alien Somali gang members, predators, and other criminals taken off the streets of Minneapolis over just past a few days. See below, quote, when you come for one of us, you come for all of us. What is wrong with these sick Democrats? And let's see the video they posted here.
What you see is a visual representation of we have your back, and when you come for one of us, you come for all of us. We reject the hateful rhetoric of Donald Trump.
I am not a fan of Jacob Frey, but what really got me here is the official White House account is now posting, calling people total cucks. All right. Total cuck. This is our rhetoric, our political rhetoric. Here we have some more Somali postmodernism. A Native American Somali man whose ancestors and tribes dwelled the land of Minnesota for centuries. Fun fact, traditional dishes like banana and rice were served in Thanksgiving back in those days also. And we have an edited picture here of a Somali man with a feather in his hair. This is very funny. And it is appropriate that it happens to Trump of all people. Because, and only because, if you're not aware, when President Trump was elected this last time, he made promises to a lot of communities. And one of these was a self-proclaimed tribal community in the South, I believe in Georgia. Okay. And in Georgia, these they're Black Americans who claim Native ancestry. He promised them that they would get federal tribal recognition if he was elected. And guess what? He granted it to them, and with that, all the tax benefits. So this is not an unusual strategy for the Somalis to take. I don't know if they could trick President Trump or manifest this into reality like those other African Americans, not Somali Americans, Black Americans did. But it's pretty funny to see them take them on at their own game. Let's continue. Here we have another postmodern Somali. This has been a TikTok war as well. Let's see what he has to say about the origins of Somalis in Minnesota.
A lot of white nationalists are really upset about Somali immigration to Minnesota for some reason. But the thing is, Minnesota is the homeland of the Somali people, and it was promised to us 3,000 years ago. In fact, one of the founding documents of the state of Minnesota is literally codifying into law that Somali people have self-determination on that land. As it states very plainly in the basic law in Minnesota, the land of Minnesota is the historical homeland of the Somali people, in which the state of Minnesota was established. The state of Minnesota is the home of the Somali people, in which it fulfills its natural, cultural, religious, and historical...
This is, dude, if you haven't read Baudrillard yet, when you read his books, there's a lot of quotes and references to historical events that are completely made up, which is so appropriate. And the Somalis are doing it too. I mean, come on, dude. These guys, they're earning their spot in America. What is more American than this? What, is a conservative going to complain? Conservatives love to make up history all the time.
Historical right to self-determination. The right to exercise self-determination in the state of Minnesota is unique to the Somali people. The state views the development of Somali settlement as a national value and will act to encourage and promote its establishment and consolidation. So that's the end of the debate. The only people who have the right to self-determination in Minnesota are Somalis. Somalis have a cultural tie to the land. It was promised to us 3,000 years ago, and we have the right to go back to our homeland. If anybody wants to help me pay for Aliyah to my homeland, please help me out.
Pay for Aliyah. Dude, these guys, I am impressed. And for the final update, let's see here. This is Jacob Frey, who has embraced this. He's partaking in the traditional Minnesotan culture of eating Somali food. We had Lawrence of Arabia, and now we have Jacob of Minnesota. Really something, huh? What a bunch of lads, dude. These guys, Somalis should be writing movies, man. These guys are great. They need to write books about this. This is so funny. Baudrillard shedding a tear in heaven as he smokes his cigarette. Just loving it. Let's catch up with the chat before we move on from Schizo Watch. I Hate Everything is here. How you doing, sir? How's New York? Full Hat says, yes, Tampon Tim. Oh, yes, Tampon Tim, this cornered rat. Yeah, I don't know how Tim Walz really brings back his political career. He really is pathetic in a lot of ways. I never liked the man. I Hate Everything says, I mean, if they did it, Leo, I think they should show it. Oh, ICE? Yeah, if they're actually convicted, I don't have a problem with the government doing that. I do think it's unusual. But being from Florida, where records are public, it's not that unusual for these records to be public. So I agree. Cuck. Yes, cuck. Plurp Photography says Barron is running all social media, by the way. I mean, he might be. Some of this stuff is a little corny, so I think it's someone who might be a little bit older that's in touch with the Gen Z memes. But a lot of it does have that Barron touch. How you doing, sir? If you're new here, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. It's free, takes half a second, and it really helps the channel grow, especially subscribing. We're growing at a very fast pace. Full Hat says, that must be a little Elizabeth Warren's distant cousin. That's a good one, Full Hat. I am the engine. I Hate Everything says, so does that mean the Holy Land still belongs to Christians? I don't know where we end up here, man. But as Adam Curtis says, you conjure up forces you don't understand and you don't know where you end up. So we'll see how this ends up, man, because this can affect the policy in the Middle East too. If Somalis are willing to do this, you don't know what other people are willing to do in terms of Baudrillardian ethic. And Plurp Photography says, shout out HAHS. I'm not sure what that is, sir. If you could enlighten me. All right, that's the end of Schizo Watch. So I think we should begin with the follow-up to yesterday's stream, which we'll have to do another follow-up after this because I have a theory, as I said in the beginning, about Tucker Carlson making people gay. Nick Fuentes has come out and attacked Tucker Carlson further. We have a great season of wrestling here, man. We have a bunch of hard men here fighting each other.
I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
This is a great season of American politics. Let's see what Nick Fuentes has to say about Tucker Carlson after he interviewed his nemesis, the heel, Milo Yiannopoulos, about homosexuals. Yeah, Tucker's very curious about homosexuality.
So yeah, Tucker asked me a lot of weird stuff. He asked me about Charles Johnson, about Andrew Anglin, asked me about Peter Thiel. So, yeah, and this guy, I've heard things about this guy since the dinner. I want this guy to stay the fuck away from me. I don't know who he is, but I'll tell you one thing. He is not who he says he is. Take that if anything happens to me, whatever, take that to the bank. This guy is not who he says he is. Total faker. I could smell it on his breath. I have never met a faker human being in my life. And it's scary because he's an actor.
Notice the body language, the crossed arms. What does that mean? If you are a Fuentes fan, which is fine, we have Fuentes fans who are subscribers. I'm not a huge, I don't really know much about the guy. All right. I've only started to learn about him recently. This is either genuine anger or a great John Cena in the ring showing his disapproval. Very good body language for this season of wrestling.
Actor. And I don't play that way, you know. And I question anybody that can hang out with a guy like that. It's freaky. He's a handler. He handles people.
He's confirming what we've said. He is Vince McMahon. Tucker is Vince McMahon. He is a handler. He is directing the show. The face is calling out the arbiter.
That's what he does. He's a fucking liar and a handler. He goes around telling people, I don't know anything. I don't know. Oh, I know nothing. I don't even have a phone. I'm just a clueless tourist. I just travel to all these countries and, you know, I don't trust him. And I don't care, you know, maybe that alienates me from people in the conservative movement. I don't care. I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to be a party to whatever that is. Whatever that CIA bullshit is, I'm not going to be a part of it.
Very cool. We have a new faction. This is being confirmed now. A new faction will not be co-opted. That was one of our theories. Remember our 5 theories from yesterday? Not being co-opted.
So, you know, now that I've heard enough from Tucker and I've heard enough from other people and I've seen enough, this guy's not who he says he is. Not an ally. Stay the fuck away from me. You're weird, dude. You're weird. You know, I'm weird in the sense that I'm eccentric. I have a weird personality. You're weird because I don't know what you are. You're like a lab-grown human being. At least I'm real. It's relatable because I'm real. Flawed, filled with contradictions, certainly, but authentic. You, I don't know what to make of you. I don't know what the fuck you are. I don't think anybody knows what you are. Your dad's in the CIA. You go, I didn't know that. Oh, really? Just stop. Just stop with the cap. You can't even reason with the person like that because it's like you're just getting it's like talking to a police officer in an interrogation. You just can't win. They're not there to be honest. I don't like it. Very weird.
Sometimes. So that's Hulk Hogan punching Vince McMahon. Oh, sorry about that. That is Hulk Hogan punching Vince McMahon in the face. That is, do we have the best kayfabe, folks, or do we have the best kayfabe? I know Fuentes fans are going to be partial to him and take him at face value, which is fine. It's fine. Some people enjoy analyzing the game. Some people enjoy being in the game. It's fine. But really something, huh? It's Vince McMahon getting run over. You remember that clip? Great stuff. Let's catch up with the chat before we continue. Flurp Photography says, shout out. Oh, sorry, we already read that. APK says, I'm waiting for the rematch. I would love to see that, APK, because we analyzed the Fuentes Tucker summit. I would love to see another summit. It would be very interesting to watch how they're going to sort out their differences after this inclusion of the heel Milo. Full Hat says that clip is a guy named David. Yeah, that's David Goggins. He's a former Navy SEAL. Of course. Nick Fuentes admires Stalin like you do, Leo. I know we have so much in common, I guess. I'm not sure I agree with his other views, but, you know, we're both young Hispanic guys who admire Uncle Joe. So that's something. Everything says, has Tucker Carlson interviewed David Goggins before? I don't think so. That would be funny because David Goggins wants to gather a bunch of hard men into one room. He wants to be with these men. And Full Hat says, David Goggins is an African-American Navy SEAL who had a hard time swimming and went through BUDS training more than any other Navy SEAL in history. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Here is another attack that is of note. I saw this circulating on the timeline against Nick Fuentes. It is kind of appropriate that we were interrupted with the Schizo Watch intro. because this is probably the most schizo theory I've seen. It's a very schizo theory. And I'm sure that someone has to be behind this somehow, man. This is unusual. This schizoization of the country, because the attacks on Fuentes are only going to get even weirder. And this is definitely a weird one. So let's see what this older man here has to say.
Nick Fuentes is controlled opposition. He is a carefully designed informational weapon system delegated to run the Christian nationalism psyop, a martyr prince in the making. He is Ben Shapiro's dialectic, a perfect mirror image. Christian nationalism is the white side dialect to the Zionist dark side. Jesuits, Jews, good cop, bad cop, darkness to light. Fuentes is a false light. Fuentes wants you to return to Catholicism, wants your consent to put you under the thumb of the Babylonian Vatican, the Pope, the Pontifex Maximus. Christian nationalism might be the solution to the Israel problem they have in mind, the Trojan horse to usher in the Antichrist counterfeit religion through the Vatican. Roman Catholic one world order, you wouldn't see that one coming, that would catch you off guard, which is the point. Fuentes neatly fits into Albert Pike's vision for the Third World War, where Christianity, Zionism, and Islam destroy each other to usher in the Luciferian Enlightenment. Fuentes doesn't actually go against the system. Notice how he says, let's recap, previously on The Truman Show, the newest development on Bread and Circus. Like Tucker and Candace, he treats Bread and Circus as legitimate narratives. He is a ringside commentator and occasional participant in the scripted WWE kayfabe between light and dark. Like professional sports, politics is a specific flavor of goy slop, and Nick Fuentes hands it to you on a platter. Notice how strongly Fuentes discourages four-dimensional analysis. It's okay to question Jewish power, but it's not okay to question the powers behind Jewish power. You're a schizo is used the same way as you're anti-Semitic. Doesn't want you thinking outside the juice box. I'd bet money that he was groomed from birth by a Masonic order which taught him the art of rhetoric and oration. His rise to fame wasn't organic. He's been boosted into the cultural consciousness right from the beginning, either with hostile publicity telling you all about him, or direct support from Alex Jones, who's controlled opposition, or Aiden Ross, who's a Jew, and Myron Gaines, who was a federal agent for Homeland Security. He's had dinner with Trump and Kanye. He's networking with elites. But they've tried to assassinate him. Yeah, same with Trump. But he's been cancelled and persecuted and deplatformed. How come his face is on major news outlets? How come New York Times is writing about him the day before the Charlie Kirk psyop? If they didn't want you to know about him, they wouldn't shout his name from the rooftops. The trail of evidence serves as negative self-corrective feedback to trigger a self-destruct sequence in your suspicions of Fuentes, because it is suspicious that he incited his followers to storm the Capitol on J6, but he never got charged. It is suspicious how he was given $250,000 randomly just before that. It's not so much as one smoking gun as it is death by 1,000 cuts.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
I have trouble believing that Nick Fuentes was groomed by the Masonic order to propagate Catholicism. I think that Masons and Catholics, I'm a postmodern Catholic, so I speak with some authority. I don't think we really get along, the Masons and this is pure schizo attack, man. Like, this is really something to watch. Is the country really going this crazy? I understand the larger message, which is that the whole thing is WWE kayfabe, which I'm inclined to agree with, but the Jesuits are involved, and it's the Hegelian dialectic with Ben Shapiro. I think that this is a bit much. I really pray for this country. I pray for this country because people are going nuts. People are going nuts. I don't even know how to decipher this, man. This needs to be a chart. He should make a chart like Charlie Day in Always Sunny, because I am stupefied, mesmerized like in Beautiful Mind. That's really something. So we see that the schizoing up, he says that schizo is used like the word anti. I will call this schizo just because it is inherently schizo to bring in the Jesuits and the Masons into a conversation about 2025 America, as well as the idea that a one Catholic world order is trying to take over the United States. I thought we were past this. I thought that JFK had changed this, maybe Joe Biden as well. But I guess not. I guess that Nick Fuentes is an agent for the Masonic order, for Pope Leo, for the Jesuits, who are the more liberal branch of All right. Let's catch up with the chats. That's what we have for Nick Fuentes' attacks this week. Can he survive this? I really wonder. I Hate Everything says, we got to see how Nick Fuentes acts during the next election to find out. I'm very excited to see that episode of WWE, my friend. I agree. It's going to be a fun next election. It's going to be fun to analyze. So reclaim the homeland for the Christians, the Holy Land for the Christians, with Valentina Gomez in the and becoming a saint. Our new Joan of Arc, Valentina Gomez, Saint Valentina. It's going to be something. Outdoor Loser says, are you guys all gay? We are not. I don't have anything against the homosexual community. However, no, we are not. I am not a homosexual. I don't know that we have homosexuals in the chat. I don't have a problem with that, but not sure. No, we're actually going to do a thing here later about how I think Tucker Carlson is trying to make everyone gay. So no, not my cup of tea, but nothing against it. I Hate Everything says, you don't get it, Leo. This guy is the real postmodern. He created his own truth and reality. Yep. I can't. We can't fault him, right? I mean, this is Somali level, not Somali tier, but it's pretty good. It's good stuff. It's a little complicated, but good stuff. Full Hat says it's only gay if you're in uniform. That may be true. Maybe true. I Hate Everything says, Buttigieg gay or Milo? All right. JFGW says, you are unconnected. Freemasonry, Jesuits, banks, lawyers, judges, and communists run the state of Missouri. Hate all of us and call us who are truthful. Far right. I don't think the Freemasons and the Jesuits are really running anything, man. I don't think so. But you're entitled to your belief. If you can produce evidence about the Jesuits, I'm not a Jesuit fan myself, even though, I have to respect them as part of the religion. But all right, let's move on here. I wanted to get into Venezuela a little bit. Okay, let's start here with another clip of President Maduro, what he's doing while he's being threatened with the whole country being invaded. There were rumors, as I said earlier, that he was trying to plan his escape to Brazil or Qatar last week in the Venezuelan channels. But let's see if he's taking this seriously. What's he up to?
Me dijeron que había una llamada por aquí. ¿Aló? 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 Bueno, vamos a estar pendiente de esa llamada, Silita, disculpa. Pero es que yo escuché...
I don't know if this is some sort of mockery of Batista's golden phone. If you're not familiar, Mr. Batista was the dictator of Cuba before Fidel Castro, and he had a golden phone. If you've seen Godfather 2, you've seen this reference. That was real. It wasn't just the movie. And he's getting a call. He can't hear who it is. So I don't think he's too worried. All right. I don't think he's too worried. Look at those polymarket odds, my friend. You are at 40% for March of next year. Let's continue. I think this is interesting to watch. We are getting even more theories around the drug crisis in the U.S. from Enrique Kissinger, as I love to call him, Marco Rubio, our very Hispanic Enrique Kissinger, my former senator. I met his daughter once. I recently saw the picture I took with her back in the day. Let's watch what he has to say about what's actually going on in Venezuela.
The Venezuelan regime is a source of instability in the entire region. Over 8 million Venezuelans have flooded into neighboring countries as a result of the regime's activities within their own country, including into the United States. They also happen to be the foothold of Iran. That's not spoken about enough. Iran, its IRGC, and even Hezbollah has a presence in South America, and one of their anchor presence, especially for the Iranians, is inside of Venezuela. So the Venezuelan regime.
I've heard this rumor for a long time. And they've also said it about Cuba, that Hezbollah trains there, that Hezbollah trains in Venezuela. I talked to my mother recently about this, and she did tell me when she went to Margarita Island, last time we were there was when Michael Jackson died. Oof, long time ago. That's my last visit to my ancestral homeland. It was promised to me 3,000 years ago, just like the Somalis with Minnesota. And she did say that there were some Arab characters there. I've always assumed that this is money laundering and financial networks, like everyone else does in Latin America. The Panama Papers, come on, everyone remembers this. But I guess we're really running with this. Not only is Venezuela, God, Dick Cheney would have loved this. It's a shame he's gone. Is not only trafficking drugs to kill, as Kristi Noem said, hundreds of millions of Americans, but he's also arming and training Hezbollah. All right, here we go. King, I hate everything says it's Piers Morgan trying to get Nicolas Maduro on the show. Hello, Piers. Hola, Piers. Yes, I will do the show. Was she bad? What do you mean I hate everything? Who was bad? Let me know. Forehat says Margarita Island is full of Persians and Chinese. It is not full of Persians, my friend. The Persians have on the mainland of Venezuela a mosque, which could be an intelligence tower, as some people have speculated. But I have my doubts as to why the Iranian regime would place these people so close to America. It's a 3-hour flight from Florida. And Chinese, yes, we do. There are a lot of Chinese in Venezuela. Absolutely. The Chinese want to drill for oil there in Lake Maracaibo. Oh, was she bad? Marco Rubio's daughter. Well, yeah, we were teenagers. I was at the phone bank getting volunteer hours. I didn't really care if he won or lost. I wanted volunteer hours for high school. I thought that'd be interesting. I actually got some vintage Marco Rubio 2004, I think, stickers from them. She was a nice girl. I bet she's rich now. She wasn't then. If you're not aware, Marco Rubio's, we won't get into that. Marco Rubio's stepfather. You should look into that if you get a chance. Here, we'll go to that later. Here we have, this is an interview here so we can see how it's really heating up. I think that Foil Hat is going to appreciate this since he's informed on Margarita Island. I don't buy what they're doing here, but as you can see, Enrique Kissinger has given the message and other people are starting to repeat it that Margarita Island is a training ground. Margarita Island is a money laundering. Half of the island is a prison run by a pran. In Venezuela, prawns, pran is said in Spanish, but prawns in English are people who are in charge of prisons and have connections to the government. I don't think it has Hezbollah training camps. I don't even understand why Hezbollah. Look, if you know anything about the Venezuelan military, it's not very sophisticated, okay? The Cuban military maybe, but the Venezuelan military is not very sophisticated. It's not teetering, but it's not very it's not very good. So let's see what they're saying about Margarita Island.
Under Hugo Chavez, in around 2011, Hugo Chavez brought in the craziest terrorists from all over the world. He called it the Secret Summit. You can believe that. It was leaders from Hamas, Hezbollah, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, brought them all under one group there in I guess the presidential palace there in Venezuela in Caracas.
This is on the Blaze. So it's going into, oh shit, hang on. We're not even big. Sorry. This is on the Blaze. I'm sorry. I didn't know we weren't big. Did you guys get to see Enrique Kissinger? I hope you did. I'm sorry about that. This is, I'm sorry. I got thrown off there. This is the Blaze. This is blasting into every boomer brain on the conservative side. Let's see what they have to say about Margarita Island and Venezuela.
Under Hugo Chavez, in around 2011, Hugo Chavez brought in the craziest terrorists from all over the world. He called it the Secret Summit. You can believe that. It was leaders from Hamas, Hezbollah, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, brought them all under one group there in I guess the presidential palace there in Venezuela in Caracas. And they had a meeting about what? We're not too sure. But what we do know now is that Hezbollah gained a permanent foothold in Venezuela. There's actually an island. There's an island off the coast of Venezuela, which kind of brings a new meaning to Pirates of the Caribbean. These are the terrorists of the Caribbean. It's called Margarita Island, and they have training camps. We know exactly where they are. This is all congressional testimony, by the way. So you can read about this in congressional testimony, which is wild to me that the media hasn't picked this up. But they are training Hezbollah terrorists inside on this island inside Venezuela. And in some cases, they're sending them back to Iran to get further on training. They come back to Venezuela, and then they get shipped out into the rest of South America, and then eventually onto the United States, assuming probably. They are, in the true definition, terrorists. And they're all benefiting off this drug money in the same way it's worked out in Afghanistan, how the terrorists were benefiting off of drug money there. Same thing is happening in Venezuela. So I understand the hesitance when we talk about regime change. I don't like that either. There's so many ways regime change could go wrong, but there is a precedent for doing all of this. And the reason why they're doing it, because there's an actual terrorist threat to the mainland. So the question is now, what do they do about it? So right now, the Trump administration is using I think there's a historical precedent why they're going the drug route. And it seems to be Panama. That's what it kind of seems like. The 89 case against Noriega, we had a U.S. indictment on Noriega. We now have a U.S. indictment on Maduro. Both indictments are shockingly similar, Liz. They talk about the narcotics trafficking, all that. It's very similar. The precedent is set up to do the same thing we did then with the invasion and deposing of Noriega. It's there. I think that's just a scare tactic, personally. I don't think they're going to go in and do that. I hope not. But the precedent is there to at least freak him out. But they do have it. Everyone knows that they're running Hezbollah terrorists out of Venezuela. They know that the drug problem is fueling all of that. And there's the proxy war element. Back in 1989 in Panama, it was Libya, it was Cuba, and at an extension, the Soviet Union. Today, there's the proxy war element of Russia, China. Venezuelan oil goes to fuel China's machine all the time. Russia sends Russian tankers over to Venezuela to fuel up the oil tankers and bring it onto China. It's so much larger than what we're being told. I think we should just be told all these. Let the American people decide what we do want out of this. What is the alternative? We haven't really been given all that information.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm Forhat, you might agree with this. I really don't buy this, man. If this is the case, which I don't doubt that Chavez was friends with Ahmadinejad, okay? And I'm sure he did support, his last act as president was supporting the Russian incursion into Georgia and Armenia, I believe. Look, Chavez obviously met with these guys decades ago. And sure, Maduro's part of the same regime. I don't buy this. Look, what I do buy is that Hezbollah, obviously, they're laundering money through Venezuela, but they're doing this in Panama and Colombia and Argentina. They're doing it everywhere because Latin America is kind of a neutral ground for a lot of people. But I don't think that they're training people in Venezuela. That doesn't make any sense to me. What would be the benefit of that for either Hezbollah or Iran? It would just bring more heat on them. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Sure, they're probably involved in drug networks. Of course, everyone is that's a terrorist organization. And even non-terrorist organizations are involved in drugs because you got to raise money. And, not to go too far back in Colombia, the Autonomous National Defense Forces, which are right-wing death squads, as they've been described, but they're right-wing self-protection units in the minds of others. They traffic in drugs. So I don't buy this. And saying that it's just like Noriega was very different. Look, and he says it. It's the Soviet Union. Noriega, whether you agree or disagree with the Operation Urgent Fury, there was an immediate threat in George Bush's mind to the United States. Noriega was siding with the Contras. He was allowing the United States to park money there. And sure, he was a dirty dog. He got with everyone. But this to me sounds pretty schizo, dude. And it reminds me a lot of Iraq, man. I don't buy this. I really don't buy this. And I think that a lot of boomers are going to start believing this, dude. I don't buy this. Let's continue here. Well, let's catch up with the chat before we get to Hegseth's impeachment, which this Congressman Sri Tanager is trying to do. Let's catch up with the chat. Full Hat says not Persian Iranians. Yeah, well, I call them Persians because it's better for the channel. Free Speech Dead Rip says randomly tuned in. I'll see if it's a friendly channel or enemy. You have enemy channels, my friend. Wow, that's really something. Outdoor Loser says, is this channel Hispanic or Muslim? Well, I'm not a Muslim, my friend. I am Hispanic by birth, but I'm not a Muslim. No enemies here, says Audio Vibes. Yeah, I don't think we're really the enemy of anyone. We're just an analysis channel. Free Speech says, yeah, I don't care. I unsubscribe. All right. Full hat with his intro. I Hate Everything says, Scared Summit is what I call when me and my boys get into discussion. Interesting backstory, Free Speech. Full Hat says, which is true, Communist Cuba has a huge involvement in all of this. That's absolutely true. Communist Cuba has involvement with a lot of these international networks. That's true. But I'm very skeptical of the depth of their involvement. Because, dude, where would you have a Hezbollah training camp in Cuba or in Venezuela? They can see this on satellites. They're not stupid. They know this is the case. You can't have it on an island. You can't dig. There's no basements on an island. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I will look that up. Free Speech. Full Hat says, what's happening in Venezuela right now is way deeper than just drug trafficking. I do think it's deeper. I don't think the drug trafficking is a big thing. Think of it as the Cuban Missile Crisis too. Oh, come on. I don't buy that, Full Hat. Not for a second. Not for a second, sir. The Russians are not pointing missiles at the U.S. That's not the case. That's not their MO anymore in Venezuela. I don't buy that, sir. The last Russian sale to Venezuela, if I can recall, were AK-103s, which is, if you're into guns, they're a bad model. They're not a great model. Yes, and I do not discriminate. Thank you, I Hate Everything. Free Speech says, Viva Venezuela, Viva Maduro, hands off the largest oil reserves in the world. Gringo. Well, I'm not a gringo, I don't think, sir. But I'm not sure what... I do think that Maduro is going to take it out, sir. I don't think there's any way around it. However, I'm very skeptical of making that claim because it's been suspected for a long time. Outdoor Loser says, American Dad taught me everything I need to know about Noriega. I have not seen that episode. All right. So let's move on here to Pete Hegseth, who, let's start here. Look, I was very surprised to see this today. DHS put this out. This model of just blowing up drug boats without due process, which you may think that drugs are bad, but this is definitely a bad precedent for the United States, in my opinion, to breach international law in this way. They've taken it to the Pacific. And this is really something. They're not doing drone strikes. I'm familiar with this procedure. They shoot out the engines with sniper rifles. But they're bragging about it in the same way that they're bragging about the Venezuelan drug boats getting taken out. So you can see here the Coast Guard sniper. I wanted to do this when I was in high school, man. I thought this was a really cool position. You get to shoot the engines out of these boats. So it's pretty cool. At least it's not drones. At least it's not drones yet. This is called Operation Pacific Viper. And as DHS says, eliminates narco terrorists in the Eastern Pacific. On Tuesday, U.S. Coast Guard cutter Monroe interdicted about 20,000 pounds of cocaine in a single mission, more than 7.5 million potentially lethal doses. So, dude, now we've really lost the plot. I thought the lethal thing was fentanyl. But now cocaine is a lethal dose. I'm sure people die of cocaine, but, I'm from Miami, dude, and I haven't seen cocaine kill people until recently when there was fentanyl in it. So I would expect them to at least say that it's fentanyl. But they're saying it's just cocaine. So this is going international, and we have here Congressman Sri Tenader calling for the impeachment of Pete Hegseth because the Democrats never learn, and they are stupid, and they can't think anything larger than impeachment.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is uniquely unqualified for his role. Every day, it becomes clearer that he is engaging in unlawful, illegal activity. That is why today I am preparing 2 articles of impeachment against Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. One for murder and conspiracy to murder, and another for reckless and unlawful mishandling of classified information.
This is pathetic. This is pathetic. The Democrats are the most pathetic political party I've seen. This guy here, I don't like to go after people's appearances, as you guys know. odd-looking duck. This is not the guy to be doing this message. Democrats have lost all sense of optics. This guy does not have his hair slicked back. He has his hair messy. He has on way too much makeup. This is stupid. This is very, very stupid. This is bad political capital to use here. I don't think Pete Hegseth is going to be removed. So that's what we have so far. Let's catch up with the chat. We have to go to PBD, who we're going to have fun with PBD today. How you doing, Aria? You were missed yesterday. A full hat here. We have multiple Muslim training camps right here in the mountains of Virginia, Tennessee, and West Virginia that have diplomatic immunity. Law enforcement cannot even go to the property. Not saying that it's Russia, Leo, just using it as an example, as there's buildup of hostile forces too close to the United States homeland. Where's the proof of that, full hat? Please send me a link. I'd like to see that, because look, I'm not going to say that you're not saying something that's untrue, because I remember the DC sniper had something similar like that, but I doubt it. You know, I really do doubt that unless presented evidence. And yeah, what buildup, sir? Like, are the Persians and the Lebanese amassing weapons to point to Florida? I mean, the Cuban Missile Crisis was nuclear missiles with launch capability to hit Florida, you know? I hate everything says rule number 1 of international law, don't follow it. Yeah, for the United States at least. Arya says, and those white right-winged groups believe in the Confederacy, the traitorous losers of the USA. Now, I will get into that when I actually go up to northern Florida. I'll post some videos from there, because I got the Southern education on the Civil War, so I don't really have the Yankee education on it. I'm very glad the Union won the war. However, I do think it has more to it, Aria, but that's just from my upbringing, because, you know, in our public schools here, we have a different way of telling that story. And those boys don't have enough fuel to get to the U.S. I agree. That none of these boats are actually coming to the U.S. I agree. Marco Rubio knows a lot about cocaine. Aria knows the lore. Free speech says Trump presumed U.S. is half the world and mass. It's why he introduced tariff hikes. The end consumer picks up the tab. I'm not sure about the end consumer. I'm not entirely hostile to tariffs. Free speech. I made a video about it a long time ago. I think it's members only. I think that tariffs. I'm not sure they're all bad, because without tariffs, Mexico got decimated in its corn trade, and I don't like that in the 90s with NAFTA. Schofield, how you doing? This guy is 70 years old. Yeah, this guy is way too freaky looking to be doing all this. A lizard man says, I hate everything. Yeah. Arya says he's hard to watch. Agree. Not a sight for sore eyes. All right, so let's move on. How you doing, Mr. Elu? He's establishing shows, just trying not to lose against the Justice Democrat. Interesting. Let's move on, guys. How you doing, Mr. Elu? We have to get to PBD because I really want to get to the other story, man. I really want to. So let's see PBD's take on these drug boats. The reason why his take is important, remember, is because PBD is a guy who has a direct line to the White House. In our suspicion, he's a guy who is siding with Trump, as we saw earlier this week. He respects Trump's policies, and let's see what position he's shilling. So in order to do that, we're going to pull up this clip that he had today. Let's play our PBD intro.
Feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it. And then there's the lions that live in the jungle who have to go get their own meat. I'll give you an idea. And you refuse to hunt. You email me, I won't respond. You DM me, I will not respond. Not on LinkedIn, not on Twitter. Dropping the N-word.
All right, let's get into it. Let's see what PBD's take is on these Venezuelan drug boats. And this is Trump's take by proxy.
This is all around Venezuela, right? Is this what this is all around?
He's talking about the orders that the president is giving to blow up.
So let's go to that. Let's go and talk about that. So new details emerge about the controversial September 2nd strike on alleged drug boat that killed survivors. This is ABC News, Rob. I think you got a clip on this here. If you want to play the clip, is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Okay, go for it.
And tonight, new information. According to a source familiar with the incident, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets. A JAG officer was also giving legal advice. So again, David, that video will be key, and Admiral Bradley will be on the Hill.
Okay, so is this the back and forth on Hexet ordering a lethal attack, but not the killing of the survivors? These two stories are kind of going hand in hand, right, Rob? Do you have that one as well?
Yeah, so that was ABC News. Now CNN reports that the Admiral has said that the two remaining survivors of the September 2nd boat strike, they were not actually trying to radio to other drug smugglers. This is CNN reporting this late last night.
Yeah, with what?
Breaking news, we have new exclusive reporting on the double strike on that alleged drug boat in September. Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley, who oversaw the operation, told lawmakers...
We watched the footage of this. This is disgusting. A double tap is super illegal, dude. You're not supposed to do this. So that's why it's important to watch.
Today that the two survivors did not, as some defense officials have been claiming for months behind scenes, radio for backup before a second strike killed them. That's according to two sources with direct knowledge of today's closed-door briefings. Now, joining me is Senator Tammy Duckworth, a member of the Armed Services Committee and a retired U.S. Army pilot. So, Senator, does this change the calculus when determining whether a secondary strike would be necessary? The idea that there was not a radio call?
It doesn't really, Anderson. It tells you that the Defense Department has been lying to everybody since September, but it doesn't change the calculus because, if these were pilots, if this was war and this was a pilot who'd been shot down, you're sitting in a rubber dinghy in the middle of the ocean, and they radio for help, you're supposed to pick them up. You're supposed to help them. Or even if their forces pick them up, you can't just.
I know she's a Democrat, and we have some Republicans in chat, which is fine. But I don't disagree with this. You're supposed to pick people up. You're not supposed to double tap. It's not supposed to be allowed.
Go in and kill those people just because you think that they might conduct future operations against you. It just violates all sorts of international laws of warfare. It's illegal on so many levels. But it does.
Right there. Okay, Vinny, what do you have to say about this?
Well,
what does Vinny have to say? Let's watch.
Well, first and foremost, just to make it clear, these aren't fishermen coming here to get tuna and all that nonsense. Okay, these are people coming here, Patrick, fentanyl, and some guy yesterday on CNN with us was like, it's cocaine. It's cocaine, it's fentanyl, it's drugs that are killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. Put that in your minds out there, and this is what they're fighting for. This is it. And those two guys are hanging on the water. They're calling for help, or their boys are gonna come get them. Who do you think is gonna come get them? Other drug dealers that are going to grab the drugs.
So what's the issue, though? What's the controversy
They're
here?
trying to say, Pat, that Pete Hegseth is ordering a second strike. As you know, as a soldier, as a veteran, and I've watched these videos, Pat, because that's all I would do when I was in the military. When you strike and you see those like AC-110 Warthog, and you hit them and they're wounded and they're staying there, you hear, hit them again. You got to get rid of the freaking threat. Because if you keep them alive, they get another boat and they keep bringing the drugs to the country. I
don't think that this is what you're supposed to do in water because it's maritime law, which is different.
I approve to this 1,000%. He has a mandate, Pat. This is the Department of War, okay? Enough is enough. We can't let anybody here. And if you think about it, every mandate that Trump has, every mandate, the border, they want to open the border as best they can. Deporting people, they have a problem with that. The terrorists that we're going to get to, $83 billion a month, they want to stop that. He's killing people that are coming here that are going to eventually, with their poison, kill Americans. And this is just something, Pat, that the media and the left, this is the tactic. They have to do something. And it's not going to work because it's not illegal. It's not illegal. Ask the hundreds of thousands of mothers and fathers who've had to bury their kids. Two of my friends, Rico and Fu from California, yeah, they're at a party and they did a little bit of drugs and they both died. Two of my friends, because this cocaine had fentanyl in it. They didn't overdose. They were poisoned. So enough of this nonsense. Enough. This is just another talking point that she had to come out and admit. And now anything, Pat. Every day it's something different. Where they were floating, where they weren't waving. I don't give a shit. If you're coming here to kill Americans, you're going to die.
So here we have the PBD id position, which can be summed up as, I don't give a shit. I mean, he might as well say it.
Say the M word. Go on.
I mean, come on. Come on.
Those Venezuelans, get an email. Look at the internet, get X, and know that we will bomb your ass if you come here. Period.
Play this clip first. Go ahead, Rob. So this is Hexet saying that he did watch a 9-2 boat strike, but says he didn't stay around for the entirely, and then says it was Admiral Bradley that made the call, right, to sink the boats.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Good. Watch that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do.
Bingo.
And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision.
Bingo.
To ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back. And the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't Pat, plain and simple. Plain and simple. I got up. I have other stuff to do. My admiral, chain of command, said kill them. That's it. The message should be out there. Okay, and this whole Venezuela case, didn't Maria Machado, didn't she technically win the election, Patrick? That guy's not even supposed to be in there. And he's running for his life, like you said in the beginning, sleeping in different beds. Enough is enough. Any American that is going to be threatened by your drugs, we're going to kill you. What the hell does Anderson Cooper know about war? What briefing rooms does Anderson Cooper or anybody at ABC? I have a source that's a Trump-hating congresswoman. Go in front of the camera and talk shit about the president. Enough already. Enough. He has a mandate. That's what I voted for, Pat.
What is this? What is this? Do you have?
I don't think most Trump supporters voted for drone striking boats and spending. How much are they spending in Venezuela, dude? But it's good to know this is the id position. This is Patrick Bet-David's id. Let's see what Adam, the super ego, has to say.
You have the clip about Maduro sleeping in different beds and changing phones just to make sure because he's worried for his life.
I do. I think it's.
Is this a clip or?
But I believe it's in.
Humberto, what are they saying?
Me informó de otras cosas
Yeah, it's
parecidas a esta,
It's
pero
in
más.
Spanish?
Yes.
Okay. See if you can have that and translate it. Tom, tell us your thoughts about the story here.
So Maduro, if he's truly sleeping in different beds, it means he is convinced. I found three stories together to be very, very funny. Maduro said, I had a peaceful and productive, I think those were the translated Spanish words, peaceful and productive phone call with President Trump. And then we hear, he's sleeping in different beds and he's using different phones. Okay, that sounds like a guy who's a little worried about sophisticated triangulation through electronic devices and is now sleeping in different places. Because if you take a look at the Israeli actions in Beirut, they knew what room and what apartments that guys were in, and they hit that room and that apartment. You don't think Maduro knows that kind of technology is available to the entire West, and especially the U.S.? Of course he does. So, Pat, this is a nervous guy who is saying the right things to the camera about a phone call with Trump, but is scared to death. But he's putting up a brave, big dictator face in public. But behind closed doors, he is worried that his day could come tonight or tomorrow night. So he's moving around.
Well, we saw the videos of him. He doesn't seem too worried. But this is the super ego take.
Trying to avoid getting hit. By the way, the last bit of the movie the documentary on Pablo Escobar was doing the same thing. He was moving around, he was active, and finally he got found one morning. They identified him, and he tried to escape one safe house to another, and they shot him on the roof of the house. So you don't think Maduro's thinking that? That's what Maduro's thinking about.
Adam.
I just want to know if there was a different alternative to what's going on. So obviously we're fully supportive of drugs not pouring into our country, criminals just running around. I'm just simply wondering, are there better approaches to just blowing up drug boats? Why aren't, maritime Navy police officers rolling up and hijacking this? Like, what is there a better alternative? I'm not questioning the motive. I fully support not having these people in our country or provide drugs. I'm just simply asking a question. Is there a better approach just blowing them up out of the water?
Where they are, Adam, to send stuff out there, and it's a huge military operation. Here's the thing. Here's the deterrent.
Yeah, but
they warned you.
Military in the world,
Adam, ready for this? Yeah. They've been warned. Don't bring your drugs to our shores. Period. International water, and they're speeding. By the way, what fisherman's driving 100 miles an hour? Zzz, like, what are we lying? This is it, Adam. They're not playing games. They're not going to stop, pull them over, bring them here. Enough of it, because they're sending them all the time. Every day there's another boat. Every single day, because Adam, that's their money. That's their bread. It's Maduro. You know what I mean? All the nastiness that this guy's done in his freaking life, all the cartels, everything
them
is
up out
drugs.
of the water, and they continue to send them.
They keep sending them every
do
day.
These people not hear. Hey, buddy, what happened to
Adam,
Hector and Juan and Carlos? Yeah, they're gone.
Are you ready for this?
What about the other guys?
Look at this
No,
video,
they're gone
Rob.
too.
Look at this video.
Dude,
They
if
don't
you
even
get
have
on that call-
HD. They still don't have HD, bro. You think they're sitting there? Are they not following the internet? Like, all the Venezuelans, if you know people, tell them to stop.
Okay.
And you're going to get blown up. Period, Adam. And end of story. There is no.
So are you saying that the guys who take the next mission and the third mission and the
They're
fifth
not
mission,
listening.
they're
They're not on
thinking,
X.
no, they made it. It's okay.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah.
Vámonos. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, tenemos los drogas.
No,
Okay.
I
And then
think
they
that-
just boom.
No, I
They
think
have
that
no
they
idea.
know. No, I think that they
They
know.
don't
I was
understand
being
the risk that's
facetious.
involved?
They know, but they're like, hey, you know what? The cartels are saying, get your ass and go. Get your ass and go, because you might make
So
it.
they're mules, and they're saying, listen, you're going to die one way or another.
Yeah.
You're either going to stay in the country, we're going to kill you if you don't do this,
yeah.
or afuera, and you're
Yeah.
going to go figure it out.
Yeah. How about this? Don't even man them. Have a remote control boat. Well, I don't know.
Well, don't give them ideas, buddy.
Do something different, you moron.
This year for Merry Christmas.
So there we have the PBD take. He let Vinny come out on top, meaning that I think we can assume that the Trump administration's position is that these are drug boats and they must be blown up in order for American lives to be saved. I'm very grateful to PBD for having put out this clip, because it gives us some clarity as far as the official position of the White House. And I think this means that the drug strikes will not stop until morale improves or something. Man, dude, this is really something where, you have the super egos attempt to calm everyone down. Hey, is there not a better way of doing this? Nope. We need to be double tapping. We need to be drone striking. And in addition to that, we had Tom's inclusion, who's another straight man on the show, to say that this is indicating that Maduro's on his last legs. Is this all a psyop to get Maduro out of power? It's possible. It's possible. I wouldn't be surprised. This is, if you're familiar with American operations in Latin America, it's very similar to what they did in 1954 in Guatemala, where they were putting out radio transmissions saying, oh, you're about to be taken out, Arbenz, you're about to be taken out. And he left, stripped naked at the airport. So interesting stuff. I'm glad we had PBD to catch us up on the official Trump position. That's PBD Watch.
Feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it.
And then there's the lions that live in the jungle who have to go get their own meat. I'll give you an idea. And you refuse to hunt. You email me, I won't respond. You DM me, I will not respond. Not on LinkedIn, not on Twitter.
Dropping the N-word.
All right, let's move on to our other main story, which I'm very curious about. I saw that this was released 6 days ago, man. Jordan Peterson's lecture for Peterson Academy, which is his little, well, I'm not going to denigrate it. It's his academy to teach people about, I don't know, man. What does Jordan Peterson talk about these days? Does he talk about, is it still about enforced monogamy? And every time I see him, he's crying about how they call him the greatest guy ever in saving young men. And I'm curious. Let's watch a little bit of it. Let's see how he looks here.
As you journey through life is to continually expand your personality. Is there something small that you can do on a daily basis that would incrementally improve you, that would lead to an expanding transformation of your productive ability and your ability to function in the world across time? You have your own nature, and it's best to work with it rather than against it. You don't want to just win, you want to get better while you play, right? So you want to find a partner who's as good as you, or maybe even slightly better. And then that puts you on the edge, right? Edge of what? Edge of the development of your perceptions, your attention, and your action. So you become a more skilled player. If you're disagreeable and self-centered, you can learn to do well for others by practice. If you're too aggressive.
So you can see well edited, good color. Look at him, good color here. Hair looks okay. A normal suit.
The Freudians, let's say, the Freudians made the essential presumption that the trauma.
And he seems lucid, right? However, I don't know when this was shot. You don't know when this was shot either. And I'm really curious if Jordan Peterson is still alive. Because last we had heard of him, it was this health update that we watched here from his daughter.
I'm going to read this. It's on my teleprompter, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome due to decades of mold exposure. We don't have a better explanation for his neurological symptoms at the moment other than spiritual attacks. He's been suffering for the last number of years with unexplainable neuropathy and weakness, amongst other symptoms, but they worsened this summer after he cleaned out his parents' basement after his dad, my grandpa, passed away. We weren't able to communicate with Dad really all of September. During the end of the pneumonia...
So if you don't remember, that's why I'm refreshing. Last we had heard on Piers Morgan and in this video as well, Jordan Peterson was now being attacked by demons. Jordan Peterson, who has a lot of health problems, is now being attacked by demons, according to his Barbie Botoxed daughter. The release of this lecture a week ago is really making me curious because I think we have another Charlie Kirk situation. Not an assassination. Much more what happened after, which is that if you remember, we keep it up on the show, Charlie Kirk is still alive. Charlie Kirk is still putting out videos on his Twitter. Charlie Kirk is still putting out videos on his YouTube. People are still hosting the Charlie Kirk show. Charlie Kirk lives on in meme land. He still exists. And I don't know if we're getting that with Jordan Peterson, because even if he's not alive, which I don't have any insight onto, I'm curious what you guys think. That's why I'm doing this. He is alive. He is alive because his YouTube channel is still active. His academy is still active. Look at this. We have videos uploaded. Let me make this big so you can see. 6 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. This was a month ago, 2 months ago at this point. So we've had 3 videos drop of Jordan Peterson doing lectures. It's Lecture 1 Official. They all have the same title. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're different courses and the first lecture of each course. I think that at this point we're entitled to a welfare check. Once someone says they're being attacked by demons, I think that's where the state gets to step in and say, all right, now we need to know what's going on because this is not appropriate. I would like an update on Jordan Peterson's physical health, but what we can confirm today, and the reason that I wanted to bring this up, is that I guess Jordan Peterson lives amongst us forever. Because he's still putting out lectures, he still has good color, he still looks great. And this is further confirmation of the Baudrillardian reality we live in. We have defeated death. Death is gone. Jordan Peterson lives on the internet, on ChatGPT. Jordan Peterson was never a person at all. Jordan Peterson was someone attacked by demons. And we have to put up with that as the explanation. If anyone has any Jordan Peterson theories, guys, I'm sorry, the chat's very active, so make sure you write at King Leo Miami so I can actually read it out. Because I'm curious about your theories. If his daughter here, who we criticized last time for this bling, this oyster Rolex, is keeping him alive, or if he's gone, or if he's just meant to pass on and live in the digital realm forever. I'm looking forward to the next Jordan Peterson Piers Morgan. Please don't deny us to that, even if it is a 3D Jordan Peterson rendering. With that, everybody, we have to get to the history lesson for the day, okay? Yesterday, we saw Tucker Carlson talking to Milo Yiannopoulos. I rummaged my mind with my producer after the show, and I was like, is Tucker Carlson trying to make people gay? And don't worry, we're going to show the clip after this, the I'm not gay anymore, because my goal here is not to make anyone gay. I have no problem with homosexuals, but I'm not trying to make people gay. And I think, because my producer was very curious too, he was saying, talking about gayness for 2 hours to a straight boomer audience to get 500,000 views, it strikes me as weird. It's not something that you'd expect. talking about gay stuff like this. Just for as a primer, we didn't watch this part yesterday. Let's see a little bit here about the gay stuff they were talking about.
That's funny. Oh, you mean it?
Well, I sense that they're not, having known some. But are any, I guess is what I would ask.
I mean, I think you get that sort of elderly antiques dealer in Kentucky kind of.
That's so good. That's so good.
We have a senator like that, who I think if he found a husband who was prepared to put up with, I really shouldn't, but look up the ladybugs. Look up his ladybugs. It's on the internet.
We have so many senators like that. It's crazy.
Well, I think people know the one I mean.
The actual one from Kentucky.
No.
Oh.
A little bit over. You can imagine he sort of invites his friend Jasper in for a mint julep. And it's like, do you want to just sit there while I get myself dusted up? Yes, of course there are loads.
This is a whole 20 minutes about whether gay men are monogamous in their marriages.
I'm thinking of the one in particular that everybody kind of. You said you don't out people, so I feel like
no. Sorry. I'm not going to use Mitch McConnell's name. But
it was Lindsey Graham.
Okay.
No, I don't. It's a shame, isn't it? The falling over, the like. How long are you going to stagger on? They're determined to turn themselves into the goblins that dictate their behavior.
Well, that's the thing about, and I'm not. Yeah, it's that there's a bloodthirstiness that's just really distressing and offensive to me.
But but think about it like this: the sassy, vindictive, catty cruelty of the homosexual. Imagine what he'd be like if you gave him a nuclear button, right? It sounds stupid, but it's a continuum. It's a spectrum, right? And so those gays that have the will to power, they go get some and they use it to bomb people or to bully or to, I mean, how much must they all get off on the fact that they are all having sex and nobody would dare touch it. Nobody outs them. Nobody says a thing. And
Right. So as I said yesterday.
So you spent like an hour and 20 minutes describing the hell that you lived. You thought it was hellish.
Mm-hmm.
You left. And it sounds like you feel better and certainly resolved.
Yeah.
But you're not encouraged to feel that way. Like there's something about the life that you live that's treated like a gang.
Okay. So this is 2 hours of them talking about gay stuff. And I've alluded to this in the past. I want to talk to you guys about a very real case, which was in Florida in the 60s. Florida was very anti-gay in the 60s. And it makes sense, right? It's a southern state. It's not a gay state, right? And I've alluded to the story in the past. Look, what Florida did is they set up a committee to study gay behaviors and make sure that gay behavior stops. But to stop gay behavior, you have to understand it. And what the Florida Capitol did is they sent around, straight guys, in theory, to document gay behavior and warn the public about it, to push, it's unfortunate, gay people out of positions at colleges and stuff like that. People don't talk about this. And they put out this pamphlet called Homosexuality and Citizenship in Florida. I'm going to read you the wiki page because it's short. Okay. This is referred to as the purple pamphlet. I've talked to you before. What happened when this pamphlet was published is that they had sent a bunch of guys to go study gay behavior, and they took pictures, made illustrations. They thought it was a good idea to do this, and they published them in a book called The Purple Pamphlet. And this book was resold amongst the gay community as pornography. Because why not? You're literally publishing gay porn. And the state had to shut down this committee because they said, are we now the publishers of gay porn? The reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like this is what Tucker is doing now. So let's read let's read the wiki page and see what how this ties into Tucker. Really quick, I had everything says the ultimate gay off, Milo versus George Santos versus Pete Buttigieg. Tucker as the referee. I'm not looking forward to it, my friend. Homosexuality and citizenship in Florida, also known as the Purple Pamphlet. Purple Pamphlet was an anti-homosexual propaganda pamphlet published in January 1964 by the Florida Legislative Investigation Committee of the Florida Legislature, led by State Senator Charlie Johns. The booklet contains several pornographic images and a glossary of terminology used in the gay community. It was sold for 25 cents a copy with a discount for bulk orders of 100 copies or more. The Johns Committee had for several years conducted a witch hunt for homosexuals in public schools, universities, and state government agencies, believing they were part of a communist strategy to, quote, subvert the American way of life by controlling academic institutions and by corrupting the nation's moral fiber, end quote. By publishing its findings, the committee hoped to persuade the legislature to enact comprehensive anti-homosexual legislation and to, quote, shock Floridians into accepting its program, end quote. The report viewed homosexuals as the carriers of a degenerate disease that posed a greater menace to society than child, The committee expected readers to select a theory to conforming to its own views, and the pamphlet portrayed gays as sex fiends who spent every free moment searching for anonymous partners, recruiting youth, or transmitting VD. Instead of becoming a bestseller as its authors hoped, the Purple Pamphlet provoked a backlash of criticism for its explicit photographs of gay men involving sexual activities. A Dade County official threatened to bring legal action against the committee, and the Florida Attorney General warned the FLIC to cease the distribution of this obscene and pornographic material. A gay book club in Washington, D.C. sold reprints of the pamphlet for $2 apiece. The backlash from the pamphlet controversy destroyed the committee, which disbanded on July 1st, 1965, after the legislature refused to continue to fund its activities. The records of the FLIC's investigation were sealed by the legislature until 2028, although in the early 1990s, redacted copies were placed in the Florida State Archives for public inspection. So this is obviously a great shame to the state of Florida, this persecution of gay people like this. You can see pictures of the Purple Pamphlet. Don't want to be too explicit for YouTube. Guys, there's no way Tucker is not engaging in the same thing with this Milo interview. This is the other aspect of it. I'm very confused by why he's doing this. He's framing it as curiosity of the gay culture and the gay community. But as Adam Curtis says, who we're great admirers of on the show, you're playing with things you don't understand, my friend Tucker. And if Tucker is a conservative and putting out what is essentially gay propaganda, I don't know what's going on, dude. I don't even know what to tell you. They call Nick Fuentes gay. Then they say that they're fighting the gays by talking to a former gay guy, Milo Yiannopoulos, about how gay stuff is bad. I don't really have a problem with homosexuals. I really don't. I'm sure we have homosexual followers, and that's fine. I don't care. But I'm just so confused as to what the conservative movement is doing in this country by publishing and promoting gay stuff. We've already lived this in the state of Florida. I'm sure Tucker is probably not aware, but this is really odd stuff, man. And in a Baudrillardian sense, who knows what portals he opens up by publishing this kind of stuff. Dude, they sell this on fucking Amazon now, okay? These based, Chad, Aryan white men, as the white supremacists would call them, were publishing gay stuff. And everyone's accusing everyone of being gay. That whole Milo interview was Milo accusing Pete Buttigieg, Nick Fuentes, who else? Senator Graham of being gay. And I'm suspicious of the whole thing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I hate everything says, you mean like that video when this guy asked the interviewer and asked her, how are you gay? Hey, how are you gay? Hey, how are you greeting? Was straight or gay? Funny video, by the way. Yeah. That's no, these are, and I see I had everything asking. No, this was a committee of Floridian men, like, conservative 50s men publishing this stuff. There's a documentary on PBS about it called The Committee. And I think this, the reason I bring this up is I think this is just a part of Tucker's strategy to drive everyone nuts, not to just make everyone crazy, because why else would you do this, you know? I once again, I have no problem with gay people. I really don't. But I do have a confusion as to what Tucker Carlson is doing with this interview with Milo Yiannopoulos, because we were taking it as an attack on the castle of Nick Fuentes. But let's play a little bit of the monologue again. Let's watch him here. We watched a little bit of it yesterday. He spent 30 minutes talking about gay culture.
Nomination, and the Anglican Communion agreed. Here's Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the leader of the rapidly dying Anglican Communion, which would include the Episcopal Church of the United States, the State Church of England. He wrote to the Archbishop of Uganda, Christian brother, to express his, quote, grief and dismay at the Church of Uganda's support for the Anti-Homosexuality Act. The head of the Church of England was filled with grief at the thought that rape would be banned. And the intentional step tells you everything you need to know about the values of the U.S. government, of our popular culture, of the West collectively. And once we understand the values, we can assess, are those the right values, and can a civilization continue with those values? But first, the clip. Here's Joe Biden describing a trip to downtown Wilmington, Delaware, with his dad in 1962.
I remember getting out of a car when I was trying to be dropped off at the local city hall to get a job to be the only white employee in the east side of town in the neighborhood, in the projects as a lifeguard. My dad was dropping me off so he'd go around the block, I'd run and get the application. And two well-dressed men kissed one another as I was opening the door. And I hadn't seen that before. And
Okay, that's enough. Let's play the clip. So let's just play the clip.
Do you believe that the Lord tonight has set you free? Yes, sir. Turn around and tell those people. Tell them. I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women. Women.
So to conclude, I don't know if Tucker is doing an anti-gay thing, which is what I initially suspected in my naivete, or if he's promoting gay stuff like Florida did in the 60s by accident. I don't, dude, as I said yesterday, look, I'm sure everyone at some point has been with their boys and they're like, bro, imagine being gay. You know, that's crazy. Would you suck a dick for $1 million? You know, but you don't think about gay people much, man. I don't even, as I've said before, I don't even think gay people think about gay people all day. I think gay people think about other stuff. Gay people, Tom Ford, I love Tom Ford's clothes and his house. Like, I'm sure Tom Ford's thinking about design. Tucker Carlson seems to really be thinking about gay people all the time. He interviewed Obama's gay lover, if you can believe that. So he could be laundering this gay. I don't want to use. Is he trying to make people gay, or is he trying to get people to hate gay people? What are we doing here, folks? This is fucking weird. This is weird. I have no problem with gay people, as I've said repeatedly. And I'm sure that they're not very pleased with this either. This is just so freaking weird, man.
It was a choice.
What is Tucker Carlson doing? Attacking or promoting gay people? I think it's just confusion to drive the country nuts. Is Tucker opening a conversion camp sponsored by Alp? Listen, man, don't fuck with people's private lives. I don't subscribe to that. And I think Tucker is really entering that ring. I don't know if it's to come out harder against Fuentes and say he has proof that he's gay. All right. I hate everything says average Joe Biden story. Dude, that was crazy when Joe Biden said it. It was. I think the biggest victim here are gay people, dude. I think gay people must be the ones that are like, what are we doing here, folks? What? I'm just gay. not me, the gay people, you know. I think about women and finance and movies. I don't think about men or gay stuff most of the day. So yeah, I don't know what Tucker's intention is or what he's actually gonna end up doing, but pretty strange, huh? Let's catch up with the chat because we have time. Let's catch up with the chat. We have a lot of chats. Wow, lots of new people. Aria dropped out. I miss you, Aria. Come back next week. We miss you. All right, we see a lot of debate here with these new chatters. Outdoor Loser. Outdoor Loser says, I am fully straight. You might be primed to sign up for our super straight army under Pete Hegseth. It's very, very straight, as we've seen on this show. Schofield says, Milo is washed. Dude, I saw someone accuse Milo of being on methamphetamine in the chats. And Milo does not seem all that normal. I hope Tucker picked the right heel as the Vince McMahon of America, because Milo, he's I remember him in 2016. He was a little bit more articulate. All right, and we have a lot of suspicions of gay stuff. All right, guys. With that, everybody, we're ending a little early tonight, but I got here early, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. Any of the new viewers, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing takes half a second. It's free. It's literally free, and it helps the channel grow. And if you got any value out of this, because we're an analysis channel, you know, consider joining the YouTube membership. It's $1.99 a month. Consider joining us on Patreon, where we're going to start the King Leo Movie Club. Probably should be shooting that this week, as I said at the start. Here's our Patreon. Probably this weekend. I have to get a haircut tomorrow, as I mentioned. I hope it's actually good, so it's not weird. Here we have the What Would Piers Morgan Do unaffiliated unendorsed bracelet that I'm currently wearing, as we have our hero Piers Morgan on this channel. And we have the Discord, which is free, and it's good to crowdsource stories. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. What is Tucker doing, dude? I don't get it. I feel for the gays, man. Yeah, I feel for the gays. With that, everybody, we have I Hate Everything. Schofield says Tucker might want to normalize being gay friendly as Christian tolerance. That's true, Schofield. I hadn't considered that. But he's clouding it or laundering it as being anti-gay. It's weird. It's weird. Free speech, Outdoor Loser, Full Hat. Robert was here earlier. Aria, of course. Audio Vibes. If I missed anyone, let me know. You want your name in the Chiron like Robert, Audio Vibes, Haluche, Afra, Schofield. Any financial contribution gets you in there. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Enjoy the weekend, folks. There's no Bill Maher to watch tonight. You guys have a great time. I appreciate you tuning in on your busy Friday nights.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.